Strip the bolts on them. Shoulda never sent him to pick up the work for him. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, they was all goners. Tech cursing.
All right. Greetings, Chudlings. Welcome to another episode of Chuddy's Corner. It is Saturday, March 15th.
The odds are upon us.
The day after Pi Day, the Celtics get a 115-113 win over the Nets. Second night of a back-to-back. If you're watching live on the YouTube, which you should be either way. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, hit subscribe. You'll see that me and Chuddy are together. Same room. We've made this happen for the Chuddy heads. So we're going to break down night 2 of this back-to-back, a win over the Nets. A win over the Nets that honestly was a lot more hard-fought than I expected it to be. I was kind of, I had a unique experience. Every year I get together with all my uncles, my cousins. We watch a Celtics-Bruins game whenever they have a game same night. We go out together and watch it. I was absolutely pumping them full of Celtics propaganda, everything like that they needed to hear. But this was a little bit of an interesting game. The Nets made it interesting. Chuddy, you're here with us. What do you make of this game? Anything cause for concern? The fact how close it was, or
No, come on, that's crazy. No cause for concern, but
Porzingis was back. That was probably the highlight of the night, I would say.
yeah, Porzingis looked good. Definitely didn't look like he missed a beat. Joe talking about a minutes limit. He played 32 minutes. I don't know when you see him play.
There's no minute.
Played the entire fourth quarter.
Minutes,
so that obviously went out the window, but that's a good sign. That must have mean he was feeling good. His body felt good. He was obviously playing pretty well and came up huge in the fourth quarter. But to me, I mean, obviously the Nets are bad. They're a tanking team, but they're still trying. They're not.
Save some for our preview after this.
I don't think they're not like we're seeing some of these teams that you can tell kind of by their body language, like they've quit on the season. The Nets,
They're
can tell
not there yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just are employing players who aren't very good, but those guys are busting their ass. Jordi Hernandez is a really good coach. They played hard and they shot the shit out of the ball. I mean, they made they finished 20-something threes.
I was just gonna say they outshot us.
They shot the lights out of the ball.
They were impressive there.
So really, that was what we couldn't put them away because they just kept shooting themselves back into the game. I think we led by.
They were 20 for 46 from three there.
That's
44%. Yeah.
And 23s. I mean, how often you give up 23s and still win the game in itself is pretty good. So you saw a few different guys on that Nets team get hot, and they've got some interesting guys. And again, these guys, rather than a team like Philly, where it's more their guys have called it a season, Brooklyn is a team that these guys are all basically playing for their livelihoods, for their jobs, to stay in the NBA
for next year.
Yeah, nobody on this team is a guaranteed anything on Brooklyn. Like, they're not built. It's not like these guys are young guys that they're building around for the most part. I mean, maybe Cam Johnson, you could say, is somewhat established in the NBA.
Thing with Brooklyn, I'm trying to explain to my family. It's like they should be tanking and in for that, but they're just they have enough decent players where they can't really. So now they're just sort of trying to get, I guess, into the play-in and maybe do something there. But,
all right. Well, I mean, they're 1-10 in their last 11 games.
Well, no, they're absolutely playing like dog shit now. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Yeah,
but I mean, I think it's just part of we've talked a lot of this year about the bottom of that East, how bad it is, and it's like, well, someone has to be the sixth worst. They can't all be the worst, and they're the best of these other bad teams. And again, I think it's just because they are well coached, they play hard, and you saw tonight, they resemble a real basketball team. You play some of these tanking teams in March and April, and it's like, Jesus, they're not even fucking
they have
basketball.
Yeah, they have something to themselves,
right?
They're a little bit of an identity.
Yeah, and I just don't know. In the next iteration of Nets basketball that's actually good. If you look at the roster and you're like, okay, which of these guys are going to be here? I think they could all carve out maybe decent careers as role players in the NBA, but I don't know. I mean, a lot of these guys, it's tough, but again, they're going
almost
out there.
like a purgatory for NBA players.
Yeah,
just kind of go to a year at the Nets, and you'll either be done with your NBA career or you'll get something out of it.
Right, and I think getting rid of Ben Simmons and now Cam Thomas out for the year oddly makes them even a little better. They're all just very they play together, they feed the hot hand. They don't really have a lot of egos or guys. I mean, D'Angelo Russell's probably the closest thing they have to a guy who's like, I'm going to go get mine. Other than that, it was like they were just going to the hot handed. And I mean,
he didn't look like he wanted to be that guy tonight.
Well, no, maybe not. But I'm just saying in general, there's no clearly like, okay,
right.
You can't.
Like,
it's hard to go into the game.
Yeah, like you go to see the Nets play. Like this is the guy they have. That's like sick. Yeah.
Like Cam Johnson's definitely their best player, but he's not really that kind of player who's just going to force feed offense. So it's like. For a while tonight, Keon Johnson had it going. What, he hit 4 threes in a row?
Who was the guy with the dread?
Maxwell Lewis, who had his career high. He had never scored 10 points in an NBA game. He had it like a minute into the second quarter. Yeah. He played great. You're seeing Tyrese Martin, Jalen Wilson.
Maxwell Lewis, I was like, that's not what I expected from Maxwell Lewis.
No, not per se. Day'Ron Sharpe is a fucking beast down low. And again, this team plays hard, and the biggest sign of a team playing hard, there were 3 things that kept the Nets in the game. The incredible 3-point shooting was obviously one of them.
Yeah. Second
chance points was another one. We couldn't finish possession with rebounds. Sharpe was a big part of that. He's a fucking beast. And the last one was fast break points. They were just consistently beating us up the floor, and that was where it showed in a game like tonight, where it's like it wasn't like the Celtics were not trying, quote unquote, or mailing it in, or any of those. Kind of cliches, but
how do you get your piss hot for this game?
Right, I mean, but the little things like that where you could just see the team not fully engaged, hustling back on defense, after begging for a call from the official while the Nets are sprinting back 5-4. But again, those are all just signs of like they're a serious outfit, they're a professional organization, they're well coached, and even though, maybe they could make a plan, I guess, but obviously they're not going anywhere, but they're still playing it out, which is respectable. Right? No, they're still
they're
Bulls.
Way out of it.
They're not way out of it. I mean, they're maybe 2.5 games out. Maybe more than that now, actually, with some of the recent losses. But
there's 6 games out of the play.
Yeah, so that's not happening. And again,
we just put the Nets to bed.
It's in the best interest of the organization, certainly, to keep not losing. Yeah. But it's never the players who tank. You put an NBA player out there. These guys again. They have no one. It's not like getting a better draft pick for the Nets. These guys.
Well, it's like what we had said about the Sixers too, where it's like they're probably worse playing their like actual like star players because they're just so shitty and so hurt and so bad. Point. But it's like once you get rid of like Paul George, Maxey, and Embiid, all you have left is guys that are fighting for their lives. Right. And the Nets literally are like it's like a fighting for your NBA spot team, which makes them a little bit dangerous. Like I've said this for a while. Like anytime there's like I think it was a double-digit spread tonight. Anytime the Celtics are against a double-digit spread, like you're kind of crazy to not bet against them. Like I don't do it myself, but you probably should, because even a team like this, like you said, it's like they don't really have anything. When they are good again, it won't look anything like this team. None of these like guys here are part of like what they're building, but what they have right now is at least I think just like kind of like a little bit of like a dangerous team that's not like good. Could easily have lost this game by 40 points, but also can occasionally play into it. And the 3-point shooting obviously played a factor in that, but they weren't just like a total like dog walk, which is like what I was kind of thought this game was going to be early.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I mean, we'll see again. We play them in a couple nights, and it definitely could be a 40-point game because they're not going to shoot 20 of 46 from 3 or whatever every single night, obviously.
Just a team out shooting us from threes like that too. Like I said, I was with uncles, cousins. They don't watch all the time. I'm like, you don't realize how like low of a number of threes this is for us. It's almost like they're almost making us not do what we want to do. Like it's like if you think this is a lot of threes, like wait until you see like what we actually want to do. Like the OKC game for example. But I mean this was again the Nets. We play them again in a couple of days, but it's like they're a weird team where it's just like everyone on that team has a reason to try hard, which I think some of the tanking teams we played recently don't exactly have that. For sure. So the Nets are a little bit different. It does feel like their coach isn't a total idiot either.
He's a good coach.
Yeah. So.
No, I mean,
the Nets were interesting.
They made it a respectable and a fun game to watch, and part of that was, and it wasn't one of those games where we're playing a team and it's like we're taking them lightly and just playing shitty. It didn't feel like. It was more like, holy shit, they won't go away.
They were playing up to they were making more threes and all that. Like that was part of it, but they were.
It was the way they were playing. Even on defense, they were fouling the shit out of us every time, which was almost like annoying, but it was also like kind of respectable. Like these guys aren't giving us any easy baskets. I mean, they were in the bonus in the fourth quarter with like 8 minutes left. They didn't give a fuck. Right. And it was kind of where it's an old adage of like, if you foul every time, eventually the refs are just going to get a little numb to it. And like sometimes you get away with it. It's like, hey, that's a stop.
We saw that with OKC, and we see with this team now. Yeah, it's like if you foul us from the jump, like you basically can get away with it all game. Like, so that is, I mean, yeah, that might be something we need to think about long term. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, this Nets team actually they had a lot of spunk. I respect it. I respected what they did tonight. Again, like we almost kind of choked it away in the end. The whole night. Again, I'm feeding propaganda out. I'm like, this game will get close, then we'll win by like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Obviously, only win by 2. The Nets had it. I don't know what they were doing on that final possession. Like I just felt like they took way too long to take a shot that wasn't that good of a shot. I mean, we were defending it, but they had like 2 seconds left.
They had 2 seconds left. The clock was running. I mean, what do you want?
Did that guy even get that shot off though? With time left, I don't even think he got the shot off.
It was a half court extended shot,
right? Which is all the more reason to just throw it up. I'm saying, like, if you wait too long to get a perfect half court shot, I mean, what are you really waiting for? Like, that's not really, yeah. But yeah, no, obviously it worked out. We ended up getting the win, but
I also think the game they were playing hard and making it competitive, but it never felt like it was in doubt. We were up double digits
no,
a lot of the night, and even in those last minutes, it was like them just keep hitting threes, and every time you're like, all right, it's over. Then they come down quickly at another three. It's like, all right, it's over. They hit quickly another. It's like, oh my god. So it finished as a 2-point game. That's probably the closest the score ever was the entire second half, like and beyond. So
no, yeah. I was saying the whole time, like, this game will get a little bit closer, and then we're gonna win by a lot. Like, just trust me. Come for this ride with me.
Mm-hmm.
I was out with family. They don't watch every game. I love the opportunity to be spreading like the Missoula ball.
Yeah.
Like, because they are like, well, I heard the other night they shot all those like threes. It's like, let me explain to you about those threes with OKC. I said, oh yeah. I said, let me tell you one thing. Not a single one of those threes had a defender within 2 feet.
Oh.
So what the fuck? And they're like, oh shit.
What they say to that?
Yeah, they basically were like, oh shit. I'm like, all right. So now they got your attention. The ones from 2 to 4 feet, we shot 20% less than our average.
It's huge.
So yeah, I mean, this was I don't know. This game was I mean, it ended up being obviously a fun, exciting game, but yeah, I was never really worried. I did obviously in that last inbound was kind of like, holy fuck, if we lose this by 1 point, this would be a very interesting podcast after that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we play this team. We got to save something for the preview of the next game, but I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say about the Nets. I mean, it was good. Should we talk about Porzingis?
Well, yeah, that's a lot of Nets talk. Let's talk about the actual Celtics.
Porzingis was back. He obviously looks like pretty solid. There was some talk about possibly a minutes restriction. Didn't really look like that played out at all. It did seem like from distance he was struggling, which I kind of love that he didn't shoot well from 3, but was doing very well in the pinks. It's almost just like he's still a little bit tired. He's been sick. So the 3 ball, that's a little too far from we shoot. There was that one possession where he shot 2 threes in a row, kept getting the rebounds, missed them both. Then the third time he got it, he just like up faked and went to the hoop and absolutely fucking slammed it down.
That was great.
That was a great play.
Dime by Tatum on that one too.
Yeah, I think that it's good to see. Obviously, I said a couple days ago, like, I'd be surprised if we see him again before the playoffs. Obviously, a little reactionary, but what's Sticky V bawling his eyes out for over here? Oh my gosh.
Maybe this is his last ACC championship. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. But yeah, no, I mean, Porzingis, it was great to see him out there playing really well, did not seem at all. I think got to a point where it's like, he just needs to try playing. Like, because like all the warm-ups, like you're going to be like, well, I mean, I feel kind of tired, I guess, but it's like, let's just play and see how you're feeling. And I would guess, based on what they were talking about a minutes restriction before, the fact that there wasn't one, it seems like he was just kind of like,
probably
I'm good. Well. Yeah. He's like, I'm good. Don't worry about it.
Totally. And also, I think it's easy for people who just aren't involved in like the day-to-day of the NBA to just say something like, oh yeah, just like rest till the playoffs. But it obviously doesn't, for pro athletes, it doesn't really work like that.
We both were like, no Drew, no KP till the playoffs, we're fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And they're both back and they're both playing fucking very well.
But it's also like, you need some of that ramp up. You want him coming in with a rhythm and strength.
Of course. I mean, perfect world, you'd have him all the time. But it got to a point where it's kind of like, okay, well, if he's this fucked up, and the same thing with the mallet finger too, but again, Drew Holiday looked great again tonight.
And Drew playing in both nights of the back-to-back. That too.
I mean, yeah. And, well, I feel like mallet finger is the kind of thing that's like.
But even in general, with his like age, even without the mallet finger, before I could easily see him as like the Al Horford school of like, I don't play back-to-back. Like, why would I?
No, he's not.
So for him to go out and look really good, I thought, in both legs of the back-to-back.
Yeah.
Very encouraging sign. What do you have, 12 assists tonight or something like that too? Without Derek White in there, he really
digits,
last night was his career season high. No, I think last night the 25 I think is the most he's ever scored for the Celtics in a regular season game.
I know, I know
tonight,
it was at least the record for
this has to be up there in assists. At least this has got to be his highest assist mark of the season for sure. So to do it last night with the scoring, tonight with the playmaking,
he had 12 assists, 11 points, 12 assists.
Yeah, just a pretty awesome reminder.
5
I mean,
rebounds.
It's obviously not like, moving mountains when he's doing it against the Nets, but it's just a reminder. There's going to be some playoff series where he's, the other team's game planning and views Drew Holiday now as our fifth guy, and they're going to be trying to hide some shitty defender on him. Can Drew punish that team and make them pay still? And these last 2 games are a reminder that, live with that at your own risk, because Drew Holiday is still a really good player when he wants to be.
And not to take away from what he did tonight, but he did have the quote of the year, I think. When they asked him about his finger, he said, I take drugs so it works out.
Yeah.
We're not a drug podcast. No one should be taking drugs if they don't need to take drugs. But if you have mallet finger and you're trying to go back to back, I'd say take some drugs.
I'm not sure that
feel pretty good.
Quite matches Paul George's drugs help quote, but in the same ballpark for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's good. So I mean, this is David Stern's NBA. This throws us back to right before he took over.
No doubt.
But yeah, I mean, again, Porzingis looked great.
Yeah. What he said, they thought it was mono, but he tested negative for that.
So they thought it was like a type of bronchitis or something.
That's what he was thinking it was now. And I like that he clarified
mono, that'd be the most fucking Porzingis shit ever.
Yeah, right. But I like that he clarified why he tweeted, because we'd kind of speculated on that tweet of what it meant, and he was more what I had said, of where he was like, I was seeing people kind of ripping me on social media saying like, Jesus, he's just out with sick again, and he's like, I'm not going to sit out because of a cough. I just want people to know like there's a real thing.
Yeah, well, it got to a certain point where I'm like, this obviously is like, it's just an issue of like his stamina. But that's the point where I was saying too, where it's like, okay, well, this is like, you have to just go play a game and see how you feel. Yeah. And he played it and it worked out. So
yeah, and he won the opening tip, the first bucket of the game. They went inside. He had a hard move to the basket. He had at least like 3 dunks. One of them was an and one. So
yeah, he was getting it done in the paint. I mean, like almost all of his points were basically
24 points, and I think he had at least half of them. In the fourth quarter, where he was one of our best players. Finally, to get a 3 to go was nice to see. So.
Yeah, he was 1 for 7 from 3, so it was like the threes weren't falling. Yeah. He's still building up that stamina.
Yeah,
but everything else, he looked
only
great.
2 rebounds.
But that's, I mean, what the fuck? Why being a dick?
Why being a dick? Yeah. No, just saying there's room for improvement for sure.
Right,
you'd expect when you sit out that
could be more of a sicko. Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, obviously, very promising. Just to see him in general, saw that he was upgraded to probable. Got excited, and then obviously to see him go out there, score 24 points. Play 32 minutes and come out of it unscathed, obviously, as far as we know. And now has 2 days off. And then, is it 2 days off? I think, and then we have another 2 days off even too. So kind of good timing, I guess, for him to come back and get reintegrated.
And the next game is the Nets too, so it's just kind of,
right. Well, I mean, hey, you've just been saying how good the Nets are for the last.
I don't think they'll be able to do that in 2 games in a row. We'll say that for a preview.
No doubt. Tatum, let's talk about too, because I thought Tatum, especially in the first quarter, he was just carving up the Nets. Finished. He looked like he was on triple-double watch. I think he probably could have done more.
28 and 8, I believe.
28 and 8 he finished with. Yeah, I think it could have been more even if he wanted to. But another example of him just kind of pushing the right buttons. The way they were defending him in the first half, especially,
they were triple teaming.
It was double and triple teaming.
It was crazy,
and he was still doing everything he wanted. Like he would just see it coming and be like, "Oh, you're coming from the left. I'm just going to drive to the right, finish with a layup." You bring the third guy here. I'm just going to skip across corner for 3 in the opposite corner.
That was the heaviest propaganda I was throwing out the whole night in my
because
it's just like, I know they might probably be hearing shit on. They might be hearing shit online. Let me just explain to you what's going on. So Tatum had a great night. He had a couple great like attacks to the basket where it's just like, I don't know, dude, just like a guy doing that. And I saw also too. I should probably let me see. I don't know if I say this tweet, but he basically it was describing the players that he was guarding in the Heat game, and basically no one scored any points on him. Like he was just. I think the only people that scored was the Cardinal Richelieu and one other guy combined for 5 points against them. Everyone else didn't score against him. No hero, no Bam. Whenever he covered him, it was lights out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tatum is a fucking beast. There's nothing you can really say about that. But,
no.
I mean, you could say a lot about it, but.
And also just that he continues to play, and there was some talk, did you hear today, that there's actually like been some hard conversations, but he's pretty insistent on like, I'm not missing road games.
Well, yeah, I said I mentioned that quote the other night, last night, where he basically was just like, these road. It's almost kind of interesting that he's so obsessed with the road games, but it's just kind of like they might have bought tickets. Like Celtics tickets are obviously going to be jacked up if you're playing in another town. So it's like, but it's kind of like, well, you're going to just like miss games for like the hometown fans.
I mean, well,
I'm not trying to create a controversy.
He doesn't miss a lot of home games either.
He doesn't really miss a lot of anything. Yeah,
right.
He's like I've always said, when they keep him out, I always picture the old shit of Pedro getting like duct tape to the bullpen there, just like you're not going in. But yeah, no, Tatum played great. JB left the game in the third, back spasms. Do you think there's anything to that, or I haven't really heard anything, but
it doesn't. I don't love it.
No, I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's kind of, but like the thing is, and maybe I'm just like so Joe Mazzulla red pilled or something, but it's like I picture like almost like the Celtics like playing this, like, all right, JB, we want you like to just like you're out of the game. It's like what are those things where you're doing like an emergency testing? It's like, okay, like tag, you just got like you suddenly have the illness now, so everyone has to adapt to you. I feel like sometimes the Celtics that shit happens. You don't think it's. It sounds like you don't think it's that. It sounds like you don't think it's that.
I know. I mean, for him to leave in the middle of the game, he didn't come back to the bench, and lower back spasms is very specific and like real. It was not, it's not just like he got a migraine.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not great. Yeah, like, but it's also one of those things that you can't really like prove it happened or not. So it could be one of those situations where it's like we want to test the team. If
but what? So he just convinced Jaylen just like leave. Go into the back and we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, like, well, that's what I'm saying. Well, like I said, I might be a little too...
I think this is a little...
Like I said, I might be like red pill, like Joe Mazzulla red pill, but that's kind of like... It's not the crazy...
I'm sure once it happened, he used it as an opportunity in the game to be like, all right, especially the beginning of that fourth quarter, it's like, now we got to survive these Tatum minutes
like a
with no Brown and no Derek White either. So, like, let's see what you guys can do.
Derek White missing is huge.
But
you don't think it was a plan?
I don't think it was. No, not at all. Especially where Jaylen had such a rough game against OKC, and then
he
didn't play last night, right, against the Heat. No. So they I think they want to get him going. I don't think they want him to come back and then leave halfway through the game. It's definitely and it seemed like he was kind of just starting to get it going. He had made a couple nice plays in the second quarter when Tatum was sitting. He had a few nice feeds. Couple nice finishes.
Well, in that case, that's like not good at all. Then
I don't think it is good.
Yeah, it's fuck.
I mean, again, who knows? Like, hopefully, it's just his back hurts and he rests for a day and he is fine next game. Like, I don't know, but yeah, I definitely don't love it.
What's the love,
right? And Brown is critical. The yin and the yang of he and Tatum is still with all the great Celtic stuff. Like, it's all about those two wings who can do everything and. When you miss one, it gets scary. So, hopefully no big deal. But at this point in the season, like, seeding's pretty much solidified. We're not catching the Cavs. I don't think the Knicks are catching us.
Yeah.
It's all about just
the seeding,
being rested, being healthy, being in a rhythm, like, kind of hitting that right combo and hitting your stride and playing your best once the playoff starts. And, if Jaylen's going to be out for any time or extended time, or he's going to have a lingering back issue, that's really, really shitty.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, yeah, so he was out. Who else? Pritchard played really well.
Great.
Not out, yeah. No, Pritchard played. He had another at least 5. Because I was saying no one hits more 5-3 games off the bench than he had a 5-3 game on the bench tonight.
And set the record in the process. Most threes ever off the bench by a player in an NBA season with still like 15 games left. That's pretty good.
He's pretty good. I did see too, and this has probably changed too. They were talking. It was the number of threes made in the season, so I think he probably jumped up to like 5 or 6
on the
Celtics all time. I did see it was like only 5 Celtics players have had 226 threes in the season, and 4 of them were Tatum. So it's pretty solid.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas has the record. Right?
Yeah, he does. I think it's 240 or something. So yeah, that'll be broken next week,
possibly by all 3 guys. Right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they have 14 games left. I could definitely see them crushing that record. Yeah, no, I mean, this was a good back-to-back. The game obviously could have gone the other way, but good to see them just kind of getting things done. Again, they don't play again for 2 nights, and they play the Nets again, and they don't play again for 2 nights. Yeah. This was like the easiest, just mail it in type situation. They came out, they played really well. They won a good enough game. Obviously, it was close by the end. You can nitpick a lot of things maybe if you want, but yeah, I don't know. This is a good Celtics game. Like I said, great chance for me to just spread the propaganda, everything like that. Like, I'm like, at one point I was like, they have Luke Cornett, Pritchard, Hauser, and Shireman on the floor with Tatum. I go, that just tells you all you need to know about Jayson Tatum as like a basketball player. Like what like actual like league circles think about him. Like he's out there with that lineup, and they're like, we won't be fucked.
Not at all. And I mean, Shireman continues to play well. He got real minutes.
I wish he hit some of those threes.
He hit one.
He hit one, but he had a couple looks, and I was like,
a couple great hustle plays. He's just starting to look like he belongs more, which is nice.
Right, that's fair. Yeah,
which is all you want to see from him, I think, at this point. Is getting these minutes. Kata, decent game. Luke, great game. Again, just cool hand Luke. Guy is just so steady. Keeps doing it.
Great movie, great player.
Yeah, so love to see that. And yeah, I mean, again, obviously it's nice to win games by like 40 points, but we talked about last night how this spending your Friday night as a sicko watching Celtics Heat and then Celtics Nets.
Dude,
you got
first of all,
you got a good game. I'm saying you got some decent entertainment. Credit to the Nets.
Shout out to all the sickos that did this back to back. This is a Friday, Saturday back to back. Two very bad opponents, and we just got through it all. Yeah. Mrs. Dugouts was talking about. I texted her that Porzingis was in, and she was like, "Oh, I was gonna just like read, but now I have to watch." So sickos on board everywhere. That's the way it goes. Yeah. All right, you got anything else on the game, or should we do our Chuddy Chains?
Yeah, I think we'll move to the chains after that. There's some funny. I know you weren't listening. There were some good. Drew and Scal moments. They did
have volume on, but I couldn't really hear that much. So if you have a couple that are good, worth sharing, at least.
Go so there's one that I think it was during a review of something, and they were playing, and also audio related Brooklyn, great background music the entire game, which they need because they have no fans, all Celtics fans there. Which I meant to mention during the Tatum part of liking to play on the road. It was like
I meant to send you.
It sounded cool because it was all Celtics fans.
The "Let's Go Celtics" chant. The Godzilla clip I have. I meant to text you that for the tweets. But.
Yeah, no, they were loud. It was very pro Celtics, which is cool. But they also play great background music the whole time in Brooklyn. And Drew was talking about. He's like, yeah, like I forget what the two songs were, but it was two like old school rap songs, and he named them both. And this guy was like, all right. He's like, you're just culture flexing, like cut it out. And Drew was like, no, like Eric B and Rakim, come on, man. That's like 6 songs. I was like, all right, relax. And he's like, you're clearly just trying to like earn brownie points with Eddie House back in the studio.
Oh no, they were playing some absolute fucking jams.
They always do that, which I appreciate. But that made me laugh. And then they had another moment where they were talking about, I think it was Drew who did one of those like in and out moves where he like jumps off the wrong foot, and Scal had like a name for it. He's like, yeah, they usually call that like something or whatever. And Drew was like, yeah, no, like we call that goofy or something, like going off the wrong foot.
Is that like skateboarding? Like
yeah, but and Scal's just like, all right, like when you say we, do you have like a trainer? Are you like working out with?
Like who's
like,
we?
Yeah.
So no, you say we confidently enough, people believe it.
Good to see them having some fun with it in a game like this. I was cracking up at a few of their different interactions, and Drew multiple times also kept saying, quoting the Biggie line, saying that's the Brooklyn way. Multiple times, spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. About mix that into a few. So,
dude, Biggie's in a tough spot. The old Biggie songs. There's just so many Diddy ad libs. It's a tough spot for Biggie music.
Yeah,
way too many like. You like that? That's just not a good look. Yeah, just tough.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's true.
All right, should we do some Chuddy Chains?
So,
all right, let's give out our Chuddy Chains. Chuddy Chains are brought to you by Mario's Roofing. Roofing, Mario's, siding, Mario's, windows, Mario's. You just got to call Mario's. At Mario's, they pride themselves on quality, safety, value. That's the big three. They wouldn't do anything to their own home that you wouldn't also do to your own. Give Mario's a call today and ask them about their spring specials. You can tell them Chuddy's Corner sent you and get $50 off your installation. Some restrictions do apply, but give them a call. Get the process started. 781-344-2420 or visit mariosroofing.com. We're getting out of the winter time. If you notice some drafty windows, anything like that, some leaking roofs with all that snow on the roof, give Mario's a call again, 781-344-2420, or you can visit mariosroofing.com. Mario's Roofing, they won't soak you in order to keep you warm and dry. Great deal, great value. Give Mario's a call. Great sponsor. And yeah, that's about all. Chuddy Chains, you get to pick first tonight. Chuddy, I picked first last night. Go ahead.
Again, I think there's two really good choices tonight I could go with. I think the same two guys who got our Chuddy Chains last night, if I recall correctly, to be honest. Last night I gave it to Luke. This time I'll give it to Drew. Again, just to see the vet be one of our best players and biggest energy guys on the second night of this back-to-back. Probably didn't have to play. Went out there, busted ass. I think he had 2 blocks, 2 steals. Getting his hands on a lot of plays, super active. Had 4 fouls, which to me just shows honestly, how
I do love judging a game
playing.
on how many. Yeah, I do love that.
Something like the
That's not a stat that gets talked about enough. How many personal they had a good game, but they only had 2 fouls. How hard were they trying?
I think for a guy like Drew, that speaks to how hard he was playing, and it seems like he is kind of ramping it up now for the playoffs since he's come back. So great to see, and as we already said, a night where there's no Derek White, he's kind of taken on a little more of those responsibilities. So again, to see him able to shift his game in that sense, where he's now the main perimeter defender, then especially JB goes out, White goes out, it's all right, you're basically now the guy who has to guard all the other team's guards. Yeah. And he's distributing, dishing out 12 assists, scoring in double digits again. So awesome stuff from the old man.
Whoa, Zion's got a goatee now. Yeah. Goatee Zion. I didn't know about that.
He's ever been in his life.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Belly tat. He's got a goatee. He's playing a good ball.
I mean, a goatee instantly has a couple levels of your game. Anyway, my Chuddy Chain tonight, I'm going to give it to Porzingis. Came back, not feeling well. They're saying he's going to be on minutes restriction. He came out there and said, nah, fuck that. I'm going to dominate the paint. He had, like I said, he had a great game in the paint. He only scored 1 3. The rest of them, 8 of his shots were inside the 3-point line. Most of those were by the basket. He had that absolute slam-a-jam, ding dong. After missing a couple of threes, you could tell he was pissed, fired up. He wanted to make it happen. Coming back. He's been sick for a while. Not mono, as we found out. But whatever the fuck it was, he was out for a few games. He came back in tonight with possibly a restriction and just kind of played right through the red light. So shout out to Porzingis. It's good to have him back. And yeah, he gets my Chuddy Chain for the night. So I think Drew, Porzingis, those are some pretty good Chuddy Chains. All right, let's do a little spin around the NBA. Before that, you got a word from our sponsor, Nick Perino.
Yeah, I'm not going to say he let us down, but Nick Perino, he is still
was not on the tweets tonight.
The official realtor of Chuddy's Corner. The longest running sponsor, an original Chuddy head.
Longest tenured Chuddy head.
A recurring host, an everyday listener, a diehard Celtics fan, truly a passionate guy. And, that carries over to the way he conducts his business. He is even more passionate about real estate. Whatever you need, buying, selling, just have questions, want to get involved in the process, don't know where to start. It really doesn't matter what side of it you're on, what part of the process you're in. If you just want to give Nick a call, have a conversation, he will talk to you. He'll meet you wherever you're at. He'll walk you through it. He'll make you feel comfortable. He's someone you can trust, and he's someone who makes a really stressful process a little bit easier. So go to nickperino.com, nickpiraino.com. Call him, text him, email him, leave a comment, tag him in the Chuddy's YouTube comments or on Twitter or something.
Oh, yeah. Good excuse.
There's no way not to find him. You can ask him about the Celtics. You can ask him about real estate. Whatever you want, he will get right back to you. He will give you his undivided attention, and he will devote his time to you. You're not going to do better if you need anything in the real estate world. So, again, that's Nick Perino, the official realtor of Chuddy's Corner.
And also, before you get worried that he didn't do the tweets tonight, that maybe he would let you down, I should say the only reason he couldn't do the tweets tonight was because he was closing a small figure deal. So he wasn't even doing it for his biggest clients. He made time for a small figure deal.
Yeah.
So, nickperino.com, as Chuddy said here. All right, around the NBA, we had the back-to-back last night, but what's going on around the league? Any breaking? Oh, actually, can we start with something I want to address?
I'll allow it.
The other day, 2 or 3 episodes ago, maybe, Chuddy heads will remember, I was called out viciously, some might say, by my colleague here, King Chuddy, good friend, but also kind of a vicious move by him, was accusing me of, do you regret saying that LeBron was, being a coward the way he left the game against Celtics the other night? There's a couple things that have come to light since that, okay? First one of those, I got to scroll up here. Okay. Few weeks ago, LeBron tweeted out, "This is insane," against the stretch of schedule that went from this most recent Thursday to the next Thursday, 3/20, about a week, 2-week period. He left the Celtics game when the Lakers were blowing the game.
That's not. First of all, the Lakers were making a comeback when he left the game.
The Lakers were blowing the game. He left, and
that's not what was happening.
And now it comes out a video of him at his son Bryce's state playoff game, hopping around the court like a friggin' jackrabbit in the peak mating season. Like no injuries. Clearly seeming like the alpha male in the situation. So I would say, do you regret asking me if I regret calling him a coward now that he's out for 1 to 2 weeks? That 1 to 2 weeks happens to coincide with the Lakers blowing it against the Celtics, with Bronny having his playoffs, and with this difficult stretch of schedule that he earlier in the year said this is insane. So that's the 1 to 2 week period of his injury. Do you regret asking me if I regret calling him a coward?
No, not at all. I think it's a very obviously real injury. The Lakers have now lost 4 games in a row after shooting up to the 2 seed. They're down to the 5 seed. He's already been ruled out for tomorrow's game too.
Because Bryce James won his playoff game,
the state championship.
That was the final one.
I believe so. Yeah, that was a championship game. And again, I mean, judging players by how they're able to move around on the sideline, I don't think it's a very good way to judge their ability to play professional basketball.
What about the tweet? How he was saying how this is going to be the hardest stretch of schedule there is.
It is.
And now he just so happens to miss it.
I mean, both things can be true. He's not wrong. It is, but he needs to play. They need him to win games, and they're losing games without him. And they need time for him and Luka to mesh, and they need to get a better playoff seed. They don't want to be in the play-in tournament. And if he misses any more games, they might just be. So, I mean,
Chuddy, LeBron, Glazer. This is breaking news.
I don't know. I think.
All right, so you're standing by that he wasn't being a coward?
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
We'll let
not in this instance.
We'll let the fans decide. Left the game and is missing the toughest schedule and is just hopping around like a crazy person at his kid's basketball game. But all right, what else is around the NBA? Who else is doing what?
A lot of people doing a lot of things. So
things are happening. Selection Sunday tomorrow, Chuddy Heads, by the way.
Yeah, which would be good. Tomorrow will be a big day. For a lot of reasons. NBA, college, just great day in the basketball world. We could talk a little NCAA at the end if you want to, but in terms of the NBA, quietly the Timberwolves rounded into form. They've won, I think, 6, maybe 7 in a row after another nice win last night. Beat the Magic. They're healthy, playing really well. They've also now
the Timberwolves,
sneakily won 12 games in a row that Julius Randle has played in. So for all the shit he's kind of taken and that they took for that trade, they're playing great ball. Julius has been great lately as a secondary creator, taking some weight off Edwards' shoulders, which is very much needed. And DiVincenzo, who started the year miserably, kind of the forgotten guy in that deal, he's come on lately. He's refinding some of that form he had last year with the Knicks. He's playing good ball. So that's a team everyone knows how good. They made the Western Finals last year. They were playing great. They're rounding back into that form. I think came into the night. They're a game or half game behind Golden State.
The funniest thing is that yes, you're right about that. But they're 39-29 and they're in the play in the West. It just shows you how crazy the West is. I've been saying to some people like, I don't know what's gonna happen in the West, but it's like you can lose 2 games in a row and drop like 5 spots in the West.
Yeah,
the West is a gauntlet.
It absolutely is, and I mean it's also, as good as the Timberwolves are and have been playing, they could still. It's them and the Warriors. The Warriors, who are the other hottest team in the league, who just beat the Knicks that we watched. And they're like 12-1 since they've gotten Butler, and one of those teams is going to be the reward for the 1 or 2 seed in the West. So I mean, the Thunder could find themselves like
in a real tough matchup.
There's really not going to be any easy series, which is crazy, and it's cool. And the T-Wolves also kind of quietly still own the Nuggets. They obviously beat them last year in the playoffs. They're 3-0 against them this year.
Who bounced the Thunder? Was it the Mavericks last year? Okay, they're not. Okay, so
I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to repeat. But the other thing could happen,
Yeah, and we're speaking about the Nuggets right now. Real live time. Jamal Murray just twisted his ankle. We're watching live footage of him in the tunnel right now.
What channel? Oh my God. I'm in the Chuddy Dome. First of all, Chuddy Dome is absolutely insane. If anyone who watched on the YouTube, you think he's looking at you, there's so much shit past you right here. It's absolutely insane. It's like a whole wall of screens.
Yeah.
This is where I'll be for March Madness. But anyway, yeah, all right. So he was just leaving his ankles fucked, Jamal Murray.
Yep. We'll see. Shoe is off. He's in the tunnel. They're probably going to pull out this win. Well, actually, maybe not. They're only up 5 against the Wizards. Second night of a back-to-back. Obviously, Jamal Murray is very, very critical to them having any real chance. The Nuggets, I think we've reached a point where I think when we see their best of the Nuggets, their ceiling is almost as high as anyone else's, but I think their floor is just so much lower. Like, they have no margin for error. They basically need to play perfect to compete, but when they play perfect, you're like, holy shit.
Right. Well, that's what you said, where it's like they could easily upset a team in one round, but I don't know. And I'm honestly, maybe it's just wishful thinking with the Thunder. I'm kind of seeing the Thunder as like, if they get to the finals against us, that'll be sick. But it's going to be a hard run for them. I think anyone in the West is going to be so hard because, like I just said, the top seed in the play-in is 10 games over 500.
Yeah.
The Eastern Conference, the top seed in the play-in is about 10 games below 500. So
the last team that makes the 8 seed probably wishes they could be the water.
Yeah, exactly. In the West, it's like we actually had championship aspirations, and here we are in the fucking as the 8 seed. So
the Suns are the most expensive team in the history of the NBA. They might not make the play-in.
That's crazy. That's absolutely insane.
Multiple Hall of Famers.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But that was kind of my point by that whole thing is that it's all going to be based on like matchups. Where if the 7 seed gets the right matchup, the Timberwolves, we already know a team like
they
that
could go far. Yeah. Yep.
We'll see what happens. The team that's the 10th right now, the Mavericks. Obviously we've talked a lot about, but they just might
lost
not do
another guy, right? Exum.
Exactly. They lost another guy for the season. And due to the salary cap, they can't sign any more guys to 10-day contracts because they're hard capped, and they've
already played
and it's past the deadline to sign 2-way guys. So if they don't get someone back from injury, they literally might have to forfeit games because they don't have enough players.
Has that ever happened like recently in the NBA?
Not recently, certainly for multiple games, but now it's like are they going to bring like Anthony Davis or someone back? Like I don't know why they would.
Well, just like I mean
I don't know.
They've overregulated the NBA to the point where it's like you can't even go bring a fucking carpenter off the street to come fucking play just to bail you out. The NBA, I mean, I feel like the NBA has lost an art if they don't have the ability to just be like, hey, you're playing for the Mavericks.
Yeah. Well, that's
like fair. They should be allowed to do that.
I think they should be forced to start playing the other guys they already paid, like Jason Kidd. Can you give us 12 minutes tonight? Like, suit him up. Fuck it. Well, is that against the rules?
It shouldn't be, but also it should be like if there's a guy in the arena, you should be able to be like, hey, will you play for us? All right, you're in. Like that should be the rule. It's like you can't bring in a ringer, I guess, if you want, because then you could bring in some crazy shit. But it's like if you're the guy who has a ticket to a Mavs game and has another job outside of basketball, they should be allowed to play.
Yeah, that's fair.
That does just seem kind of crazy. Like that's a lost art. Like isn't there? And like hockey isn't sometimes like the emergency goalie is just like a guy in the crowd.
Yeah.
NBA needs that. All right. Anyway, yeah. The Mavs need that. Yeah, the Mavs need that.
All right. A couple quick hitters. Just Jaren Jackson Jr. back tonight for the Grizzlies. Huge news. Obviously, that was a scary one. He's been their best player this year. That was big. Update on Jalen Brunson. He's going to be out at least another 2 more weeks for the Knicks. They just lost again. They've been in some trouble. Shams reported he could be not back till early April. So looking at that point, it'd be a full month. They obviously kind of screwed without him. Speaking of the Knicks, funny story the other night that Mikal Bridges, who's like basically the NBA's Cal Ripken at this point, never misses time. He actually spoke out about Tibbs playing guys too many minutes.
Too much?
Yes, and he said that he actually went to Tibbs and talked to him about it and was like, we need to get these bench guys going. We need to take some minutes off the starters.
Was Tibbs just like appalled at the idea of not?
So then they asked Tibbs about it and he goes, yeah, that conversation never happened. So...
Dude, never would have the
so
balls to tell me to fucking
know what
play
to make of that now.
No one has the balls to tell me not to play a guy
no way
48 minutes a
Bridges
game.
Made up that they like met and had this probably somewhat awkward professional conversation.
That's great stuff. That's great stuff.
So that's awesome. And then the last thing is that we keep hearing about the NBA investigating these teams for tanking, which is so funny to me because it's like I get what I get that you want to get rid of tanking, but also like what is an investigation? Like, what are you're sending
your
like
team
doctors to Utah and be like, where's marketing? Like, let's see. Yeah. Get over here, marketing.
Give me those x-rays.
Just like knocking on his knee with like a wood hammer. Like,
all right. Didn't even flinch. Huh?
It's like, I can tell you the result of the investigation. Like, the Jazz are trying to lose. They're tanking.
Yeah.
Like,
they're not looking to do anything.
I get it. You want to do something about tanking. It sucks that there's 8 to 10 teams every night that are just trying to lose, but like, this isn't the answer. And these investigations just make it seem even more ridiculous. And they're investigating the Thunder, who it's like they're 50 2 and 14. Like, if they want to rest guys who
They can rest.
they're still going to win.
They can afford.
They can rest all their starters and still beat most teams anyway. Like, the rules shouldn't be for a team like that.
Yeah.
So that's just hilarious. And then they're investigating the Sixers now too. It's like, again, what are you sending doctors to Paul George and being like, all right,
like, dude, you guys obviously washed and fucking injured. Like,
no, you can play.
Sucks. Yeah,
you can play. Get them out there. So then what are they? And I don't know. It's just so silly. We can, at some point, we should talk about options for maybe changing the lottery or what else they can do about tanking. But this is just looks dumb.
All right. Well, that's around the NBA. We'll see everyone back here again on Tuesday against the Nets. We don't really need to recap the Nets. We just talked about the Nets, right? We just saw the Nets. We'll see you back here on Tuesday. Make sure you follow the show at Chuddy's Corner on Twitter. Follow us on all your social media platforms. Follow us on all your podcast platforms. We're streaming everywhere. Follow him. He's at King Chuddy. Follow me. I'm at Doug_outs. We'll see everyone back here again on Tuesday night against the Nets. Take care. Peace out, Chuddy outs.